Tony, this is Scholz's third defeat since he's been announced as the new leader of the SPD. He was supposed to reinvigorate the party, but it hasn't really worked out.
Well, there was, Matt, there was a short surge, as our viewers may remember, after he was nominated, because the SPD was kind of, I mean, let's be honest, quite desperate to get somebody who could lead them forward into this election. But now he's really been cut down to size by voters, especially yesterday in a state that has about a fifth of the electorate.
So this is setting up an interesting meeting today between Emmanuel Macron, who just won in France. He's coming here to meet with Chancellor Merkel, whom he will likely now work with after these results. You guys wrote a great story last week. I think Rainer Bergen and Arnie Delfs put out a piece saying that, you know, the Macron victory sets up an interesting Merkel-Scholz kind of dilemma here as far as the euro and Europe is concerned. Will now Macron have to plead to Merkel for his goals, his desires to have a European finance minister, a European parliament, etc.?
You'd suspect that Macron will, I mean, this is his first visit. It's like, it's about 24 hours after his inauguration. You suspect that he won't come here pleading. And what's interesting is that Merkel said the other day, all this talk about Germany having to reach out and help France is a bit patronizing. Now, that was a barb at the Social Democrats, who were trying to, you know, understandably score political points by saying we've had austerity for too long. This is the message. You need to back off of that, Madam Chancellor. But what will most likely happen is they'll have a a general discussion of what's possible and what isn't, and get to know each other, as the cliche goes. And what we have heard privately from the German political circles is that you really can't expect any sort of bona fide concrete initiatives before the German election, which is happening in September.
Can I ask, Tony, whether or not Mr. Scholz's kind of incredibly pro-European stance that he's brought back from Brussels, how big an impediment that is? Can we start to get a sense that the German people see that as a problem, or do they just take it for granted?
I think it's more the latter. I think that, I mean, me personally, from having watched this for some years, what I would say is that Merkel herself has been, or has portrayed herself, and in many ways also has been, very pro-European, because it is kind of a given for Germany. Germany works best when Europe does well. That's the line you always hear from Merkel. And in many ways, that's true because of its economic power and the need, you know, for a quote-unquote strong Europe surrounding it. Now, Scholz, I think that's not been his biggest problem with the voters. I think it's more a matter of trying to make his voice heard and trying to set himself apart from Merkel on a topic of his choosing, more or less. And that just doesn't seem to have worked very well so far. I mean, we still have 4 months to go.